3 weather bombs are about to explode simultaneously across Australia, and what I discovered in the overnight computer models will leave you absolutely speechless. Stop everything you're doing right now, because the next 18 minutes could save your Australia Day weekend from complete weather devastation. We're witnessing the most dangerous tropical setup since records began, with cyclone threats from Queensland to Western Australia happening at once. If you're anywhere from Cairns to Perth, the decisions you make in the next 72 hours will determine whether you survive this weather apocalypse. What's terrifying meteorologists across the continent is how perfectly these deadly weather patterns are aligning for maximum destruction. Before I reveal the shocking timeline that has emergency services quietly activating disaster protocols, drop your exact city in the comments now. Your location determines whether you're in the direct path of these atmospheric monsters, or if you have precious time to prepare. In moments like these, when nature unleashes forces beyond human control, I'm reminded that only God's mercy stands between us and total chaos. Here's the terrifying truth about what's brewing in our atmosphere that will make your blood run cold. Queensland is ground zero for the first weather bomb, a tropical monster that's already organising with frightening intensity. The tropical low-pressure system, currently spinning over northern Queensland, isn't just another weather disturbance. It's a killer in the making. Brisbane and Gold Coast residents living in false security. This deadly calm is exactly what happened before the most catastrophic storms in history. Townsville and Cairns, you're sitting in the crosshairs of explosive thunderstorm development that could unleash hell within hours. But here's what will absolutely shock you about what's simultaneously building in the Coral Sea that threatens the entire eastern seaboard. The second weather bomb is a tropical cyclone that both European and American models agree will form with devastating consequences. When independent computer systems achieve perfect agreement on cyclone formation, it means the atmosphere has already made its deadly decision. This isn't speculation. This is meteorological certainty that's about to unleash chaos across multiple Australian states simultaneously. New South Wales faces its own atmospheric nightmare as severe thunderstorm factories fire up across the state. Sydney and Newcastle residents, your weekend plans are about to be obliterated by storm systems that will make headlines for all the wrong reasons. The southeasterly wind change charging up the coast isn't bringing relief. It's delivering the trigger for explosive atmospheric warfare. Port Macquarie and the mid-north coast are positioned directly in the path of these atmospheric freight trains loaded with destruction. What has me genuinely terrified is how multiple triggers are creating the perfect storm scenario that meteorologists fear most. Temperature contrasts, moisture transport, and upper-level dynamics are conspiring to create Australia's worst weather week in decades. Melbourne and Adelaide. You might think you're safe, but this weather revolution is spreading faster than anyone predicted. The high-pressure system controlling everything is about to lose its grip, unleashing atmospheric chaos across the entire continent. But wait until you hear about the third weather bomb that's about to detonate over Western Australia with nuclear-level intensity. This is where the story becomes absolutely mind-blowing, and why emergency managers are having sleepless nights. Western Australia faces the resurrection of Cyclone Koji in a form that could surpass every tropical cyclone in recent memory. The remnants of this killer storm are positioning over Indian Ocean waters, so warm they're literally cyclone rocket fuel. Perth, Broome and Karratha residents need to understand. You're about to witness weather history being written in real time. Sea surface temperatures of 32 degrees are creating an oceanic furnace that transforms tropical systems into atmospheric monsters. Port Hedland, Karratha, and the entire Pilbara region could face the strongest cyclone to threaten Western Australia in over a decade. The jet stream positioning creates a meteorological highway for tropical cyclone intensification that defies normal seasonal patterns. When atmospheric ingredients align this perfectly, Mother Nature produces the legendary storms that get studied for generations. Here's the timeline of destruction that should terrify every Australian planning Australia Day celebrations. Friday through Sunday, the opening shots of atmospheric warfare begin with severe thunderstorm outbreaks across eastern Australia. Queensland's Granite Belt and New South Wales face thunderstorm activity that could produce golf ball-sized hail and destructive winds. The atmospheric energy readings are off the charts, exactly the conditions that create the storms people remember forever. Wind shear patterns indicate these won't be ordinary storms. They'll be organized supercells capable of widespread devastation. Monday through Wednesday marks the escalation phase, when tropical systems begin their assault on Australian coastlines. The Coral Sea cyclone strengthens while moving into striking distance of Queensland's most populated regions. Simultaneously, Cyclone Koji's remains march toward Western Australia's warm waters like an unstoppable atmospheric army. January 20th represents the day when all hell breaks loose. Multiple tropical threats active across the continent simultaneously. Australia Day weekend faces complete obliteration from weather systems that could shut down entire states. Before I reveal the most shocking details, tell me in the comments, are you prepared for weather warfare or living in dangerous denial? Your honest answer could determine whether you're among the survivors or become another weather casualty statistic. The rainfall projections are absolutely staggering and will rewrite meteorological record books. Eastern Australia faces deluge conditions that could dump 100 to 200 millimetres in hours, not days. Port Macquarie and southeastern New South Wales could experience flood-producing rainfall that overwhelms every drainage system. Queensland's far north faces a tropical rainfall bomb that could isolate communities for weeks. The Cape York Peninsula will experience a multi-day deluge that transforms the landscape into an impassable water world. Meanwhile, inland Australia continues baking under extreme heat, while coastal areas face drowning conditions. Alice Springs and central regions remain trapped under high-pressure systems that create furnace-like conditions. This extreme contrast between flood and drought zones creates the atmospheric tension that fuels explosive weather development. Western Australia's Kimberley region faces rainfall so intense it could trigger landslides and catastrophic flooding. Water tanks will overflow within hours, while communities struggle with transportation and communication failures. What makes this situation absolutely unprecedented is how 3 separate weather bombs detonate simultaneously. Never in recorded Australian history have we faced severe thunderstorms, cyclone development, and extreme rainfall together. The monsoon trough is transforming into an atmospheric weapon of mass destruction spanning half the continent. Historical weather patterns similar to these created Australia's most catastrophic natural disasters. Emergency services are quietly preparing for scenarios that could overwhelm response capabilities across multiple states. The wind analysis reveals why certain death zones are forming, while other areas experience deceptive calm. Easterly winds are channeling tropical moisture, like atmospheric rivers, directly toward populated coastlines. Areas west of the Great Dividing Range face a different nightmare: extreme heat with no moisture relief. The high-pressure system south of Tasmania is the puppet master controlling these deadly atmospheric movements. Gusty winds across Victoria and southern north-southwest create perfect fire weather conditions during thunderstorm season. Lightning strikes in dry areas could ignite fires that spread faster than emergency services can respond. Temperature patterns reveal the shocking battle between different air masses fighting for continental control. Inland areas cook under heat domes, while coastal regions face tropical storm conditions simultaneously. Southern coastlines experience temporary relief that's about to be shattered by the approaching weather revolution. This relief is the meteorological equivalent of the calm before the most devastating hurricane. Northern Australia's tropical moisture creates the oppressive humidity that powers atmospheric explosions. This humidity is the fuel that transforms ordinary weather disturbances into killer storm systems. The tropical cyclone threat deserves special attention because it could affect millions of Australians simultaneously. Norfolk Island sits directly in the crosshairs of tropical development that could produce catastrophic conditions. American forecast models show this area receiving 200+ millimeters of rainfall, enough to trigger landslides and flooding. While that benefits water supplies, it also creates deadly conditions for anyone caught unprepared. European modelling suggests even more frightening scenarios, with stronger cyclone development possibilities. When forecast models disagree on cyclone details, it usually means the actual outcome exceeds all predictions. The Western Australia cyclone scenario represents the most dangerous tropical threat in over a decade. Sea temperatures exceeding 32 degrees provide unlimited energy for rapid cyclone intensification. The jet stream highway allows tropical systems to strengthen without atmospheric interference. Small cyclones in perfect environments undergo explosive intensification that surprises even veteran meteorologists. Broome, Karratha, Onslow, and Port Hedland face potential cyclone impacts that could rival the strongest storms in history. The timing targeting Australia Day weekend creates maximum disruption for millions of holiday travellers. Emergency management agencies are activating disaster plans for multiple concurrent tropical threats. What separates this pattern from normal tropical seasons is the simultaneous nature of multiple deadly threats. Multiple development areas operating together create compound disasters that overwhelm emergency response systems. The geographic spread means communities from Queensland to Western Australia face life-threatening conditions simultaneously. Infrastructure systems face testing beyond design limits from different weather phenomena hitting multiple regions. Tourism industries brace for potential devastation during Australia's most profitable holiday period. Agricultural communities experience catastrophic impacts with beneficial rainfall in some areas and destruction in others. Aviation operations face complete shutdown as multiple weather systems create no-fly zones across the continent. The forecast confidence comes from unprecedented agreement between independent computer modelling systems. When European and American systems agree on complex tropical scenarios, the probability of catastrophic outcomes approaches certainty. However, specific details about destruction levels, exact timing, and casualty numbers require constant monitoring. The atmosphere remains unpredictable, where small changes produce dramatically different disaster scenarios. Professional meteorologists understand that uncertainty in tropical forecasting often means conditions will exceed expectations. Community preparedness becomes the only strategy for surviving weather events of this magnitude. Understanding evacuation routes, emergency supplies, and communication plans determine survival versus tragedy. Building community survival networks provides the only defense against weather systems this powerful. The flooding crisis across central Queensland adds deadly complexity to an already catastrophic situation. Saturated soils and elevated rivers mean any additional rainfall triggers flash flooding that kills within minutes. Communities still recovering from recent disasters face complete annihilation from renewed weather attacks. Emergency services maintain crisis alert levels as multiple weather threats continue strengthening simultaneously. Resource coordination for managing simultaneous disasters tests Australia's emergency response beyond breaking points. Strategic resource allocation becomes critical when multiple regions face different but equally deadly challenges. Communication system failures during compound disasters isolate communities when they need help most desperately. Here's your survival strategy for different regions based on the most likely catastrophic scenarios. Queensland coastal communities must prepare immediately for tropical cyclone impacts, including potentially deadly storm surge. Evacuation planning, emergency supply stockpiling, and communication systems require immediate activation. New South Wales residents face severe thunderstorm threats that could produce tornadoes and baseball-sized hail. Outdoor activities become death traps as storm systems develop with frightening speed and intensity. Western Australia communities should begin cyclone preparations immediately, without waiting for official warnings. Emergency food, water, medical supplies, and evacuation procedures must be ready before tropical threats arrive. Southern Australia residents should prepare to assist displaced family and friends from disaster-struck northern regions. Communication networks become critical for coordinating assistance to communities facing weather warfare. The next 48 hours provide final preparation time before these weather bombs begin detonating. Forecast model updates reveal whether current apocalyptic scenarios strengthen or evolve into even worse nightmares. Professional meteorologists work around the clock, providing early warning for communities in danger zones. Community engagement through comments helps identify areas requiring immediate attention and survival guidance. Local weather observations provide ground truth that enhances forecast accuracy during rapidly changing conditions. Sharing this survival information could literally save lives of friends and family across Australia. Tomorrow's forecast update reveals tropical development progress and potential evacuation zone declarations. The most urgently requested locations in comments receive detailed survival analysis in emergency updates. Subscribe immediately to receive critical updates as these deadly weather patterns continue intensifying. Notification alerts deliver life-saving information when weather conditions change from dangerous to deadly. Weather survival education separates those who live through disasters from those who become casualty statistics. Understanding atmospheric warning signs helps distinguish real threats from media hysteria. Professional forecasting combines decades of experience with cutting-edge technology to serve community survival. Together, we face whatever atmospheric warfare Mother Nature launches against Australian communities. The coming week tests Australia's weather preparedness and community resilience like never before. Australia's geographic diversity creates opportunities for both life-saving rainfall and deadly destruction. Farmers desperate for drought relief celebrate rainfall, while coastal communities prepare for tropical annihilation. Tourism operators balance guest safety with business survival during potentially the most dangerous holiday weekend. Transportation industries adjust for weather systems that could shut down major routes and airports indefinitely. Energy providers prepare infrastructure for extreme weather impacts that could leave millions without power. Australia's strength lies in communities supporting each other when natural disasters test our national resilience. Communities with disaster experience share survival knowledge with neighbours facing their first weather emergency. Traditional weather wisdom combined with modern forecasting creates comprehensive survival strategies. Mobile populations and travellers require updated survival information as weather threats affect different regions differently. International visitors to Australia must understand tropical weather can explode from calm to deadly within hours. Global weather interconnectedness means Australian patterns influence and respond to worldwide atmospheric chaos. Climate variability ensures no two disaster seasons produce identical challenges or survival requirements. Adaptation and survival flexibility remain essential skills for thriving in Australia's increasingly volatile weather. Research scientists study these patterns to improve future disaster prediction and community survival rates. Technology advances enable more precise tracking, but cannot prevent the raw power of atmospheric destruction. Community feedback helps meteorologists understand how forecast information translates into life-saving action. Survival education initiatives build weather awareness that could determine who lives and who dies. Your engagement with survival information contributes to broader community preparedness and resilience. Share your location, fears, and preparation status to help build comprehensive disaster awareness. Together, we monitor these terrifying atmospheric developments while prioritizing survival above everything else. Australia's weather story continues, with chapters that challenge our national survival instincts. Stay alert, stay prepared, and stay alive as we navigate the most dangerous weather period in decades. This survival briefing concludes, but our disaster monitoring and community protection continue every hour. From satellite tracking to ground observations, we document these deadly developments with professional urgency. Until tomorrow's emergency update, keep watching the skies and preparing for atmospheric warfare across Australia.